What is up, guys? Rice Vlogs back with another video. Thanks for clicking on the link and checking things out. Today I got something I'm super excited to show you guys. We got the car lowered in the last video. Today we got that final touch that's necessary for any build, and that's some wheels and tires. So without further ado, I'm going to jump straight into things, show you what we got, how I figured things out, as to what I should get, and yeah, let's get right into it. Okay guys, so real quick, to pick up where we left off, this is how the car was sitting before I picked up these wheels and tires. So we have the car sitting a lot lower. This is the factory wheels and tires that the car came with, so I threw these on for now, but I wasn't actually planning on leaving it this way, of course. So as you can see, a little sneak Alright guys, so this here is a Kenzie Astro. I picked these up and they were actually on back order, so they were supposed to take a lot longer than they did, but they still ended up coming pretty quick. Like I said, I did pick these up from fitmentindustries.com. I actually live here in Wisconsin, so they are kind of local to me, so it didn't take too long for them to get back order shipped and everything else and then eventually come here. I also ordered those Silver's coilovers from Fitment Industries, which those as well I think were on back order. Then again, they might have just been a little slower because they had to build them to my order. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they did take a little longer than the wheels and tires took to get here actually. So I've had these on the shelf for a little while, just waiting to get put on. Of course, I had to show you guys the install of the coilovers first. Now I can reveal these bad boys. So these guys are an 18 by 9.5 plus 25. Some guys tend to run on these Corollas a 18 by 9.5 plus 35, which then would bring the wheel in a little bit more rather than out like these ones will. But the thing with that is then they end up running a spacer to try to make up for being tucked more and things of that nature. I wanted to be able to just run these without any spacers. I know it's possible I may still want one or need one in the rear just to bring it out slightly to the fender more, but we'll see about that when we actually get these bad boys put on. But I also want to go over one other feature to these, and that is the tires that I put on here. As I showed you guys, these are Nitto Neo gens. So I did run these same exact tires, just a different size and everything, on my Civic that I had in the past, my boosted Civic that is. And I really like these tires. They're 200 tread wear, all season tire, but they actually handle really great. They're pretty sticky. I didn't ever really lose traction on them. I could rip through corners and things of that nature with these tires and never really have any issues. The other thing that's nice about these is they're designed for camber. So the best thing for them is when you have your tire slightly slanted in order to fit a better setup or anything like that, or just from lowering the car in general, you do get that natural camber like I mentioned. By doing so, you actually will have better fitment and more practicality with these tires, because you have that extra tread on that inside section that is designed for camber actually. So these tires are kind of a perfect all-around setup for any kind of setup that I was going for. So that's why I got them. I also went on Facebook a little bit, did some research based on what other people had done with this Corolla, just to see kind of what fit, what worked best, everything like that. And I usually tend to try to go for more of a square tire and wheel setup because I like that look of almost like a track setup, kind of aggressive, and it's still practical. I don't have to worry about like curbing a wheel or anything like that because I have that extra protection. Just like with the Miata, I have a really meaty square setup for my wheels and tires, but it's not overdone where like a factory setup is with the huge bulging, bubbly tires with the skinny small wheels. But because I am looking to have more of a kind of stancier, lowered setup with this, have that nice wheel to lip look, I did go with a stretch tire this is what people recommended to me, so they are a 225 40 by 18. Otherwise, a more square setup, I believe, would have been like a 245, somewhere around there. So I am a little stretched. I am a lot wider than normal, but I also have that farther out offset and everything like that. So we should be pretty good with this setup based on my research, but we won't know unless we throw them on. So if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments about these wheels. I also looked at the Kenzie tandems. So same brand, different design. These have that nice star shape with the split spokes, everything like that. The tandems are more of like a, I believe maybe 8 different single spokes that are super concaved and go out to the outside. I really like that look as well, especially on the Corolla, but I ended up going with these for now. I may even get those ones later when I feel like having a different setup to go back and forth between. But yes, for now these will do. I am excited to get them thrown on the car and just see how things look with what we have. So let's get it. Okay guys, so one thing that I want to note quick before I get this guy thrown on here is these hubs. So most of the time when adding an aftermarket wheel, these hubs are smaller than the inside hub on the wheel. As you can see, that's a massive hole right there. So I just want to point out that it's always a good idea to get these hub-centric rings. I bought some plastic ones. They also make metal ones, but they tend to seize to the rotor. But as you can see, it has an inside diameter that I had to Google and see. I think it was like 54.1 millimeters. But then it fits nice and snug on here, like so. Cannot even barely pull it off now. And then the outside diameter of this is actually this inside of the wheel, so it's kind of hard to see because the lighting. But now instead of being lug centric, sorry, it will now be hub centric. So before the wheel was only mounting to the lug nuts and the lugs, but now it will also be balanced by that hub as well as the lugs. So it's just going to help basically make everything a little better balanced, and just it's safer to have a perfectly centered hub wheel versus just the lugs. So about 7, 8, maybe $10 for a set of these, so 4. So definitely a good thing to invest in just to make everything mount nicer. Plus when you go to put a wheel on, it sits there perfectly where it needs to be versus kind of falling around on the lugs. You run a lug nut on there and then it sucks the wheel, you know, awkward and everything, where this just makes it sit on there nice. So definitely should look into getting some of these if you guys are doing this. Another thing quick is make sure you get some lug nuts designed for aftermarket wheels. These ones have this key that they actually fit perfectly in, and then that way they fit inside of here perfectly. And as you can see, the aftermarket wheels use these and the OEM wheels use these, which actually went inside of the wheel lug. This one is a cone, so a cochial lug, and this is a inserted lug nut, I suppose you could call it. I'm not sure the exact term, but definitely different here. So make sure you always look into that as well, so you're actually using the correct lug nuts. as you guys can see, this is the best and most practical setup that you can go with here, without being too low where you're going to be frame banging, caught on things, but also low enough where it looks very clean, very put together, and it's static. Now if I did have a air suspension system, I would definitely go as low as I can go when aired out so that the lip and the fender would touch. But that's about what this setup is missing right now based on being static. I'll show you guys close up here that we do have that perfect fender to lip setup right now. So as I said, right now there's a gap here. I can actually fit my hand in here because we aren't as low as it can go, but the wheel is going to travel too, obviously. So we have just enough room for that wheel and tire to travel and not have any banging or smashing or rubbing. But if I was on air suspension, I could air this out all the way down past the tire right to the lip, and that would be a perfect fitment. So if anybody is looking to go air, you now know the perfect fender to lip setup on a E210 Corolla hatchback. So in the rear here, we are right where we need to be to have a fender sitting right inside of that stretch tire and lip. And in the front, same thing. We are right at that fender to lip yet again. Now the front, you would definitely have to dial it in a little better. I'm currently a little closer fender to lip on the passenger side here, as you can see, right where I need to be with that. But then when I come to the driver's side, I do have a little more tire than the passenger side. I'm not sure if this is just, you know, being a cheaper economy car, the body isn't perfectly identical on each side, where maybe this fender isn't slightly as far out as the passenger side fender, or maybe there's slightly more camber on this passenger side than the driver's side. But based on where I have the coilover set maxed out, I can't, without taking everything apart just to adjust it a couple more millimeters. But currently where I had it, I tried to match them both identical, which they are. So this could be, like I said, either body lines or drivetrain. It's hard to say, but it's really millimeters of a difference. So I'll probably just leave it, considering this is just kind of for fun. Definitely look better rolling down the street and when parked, and nobody's gonna compare side to side, you know, oh, he's off by a millimeter here, you can see some tire, but then when you come to this side, he's not. So I think this is still perfectly fine how I have it, and I'm super happy with the look, and I hope you guys are too. I think this blue and white really go together well, and it just really makes this thing look aggressive. One thing I want to add, now that we're lowered, we have nice wheels and tires, we do have some other things, some ground clearance type things to help make this thing look even lower and just look a lot better. So I do have front lips, side skirts, things like that I do want to address. Just still looking at options on that. But other than that, guys, I want to thank you all for checking out the video. Make sure you drop that like, comment down below, tell me what you think, tell me what maybe this whole different you know, angle of the wheel, or maybe the body lines or whatever it could be that are throwing off this front end slightly. But other than that, guys, make sure you subscribe for more, because this has a ton more to be thrown at it. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Without further ado, peace.